my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. So today we are this close to 99,000 subscribers. When I'm filming this, we are at 98,855. Seriously, less than 200 people need to subscribe and we hit 99,000. When we hit 100,000 plus a little bit more, we have to go maybe another 500 or so over, I will give this away because I don't want people to just unsubscribe as soon as I give it away. Be committed. Join the community. Have fun. So this is what I'm going to give away, and it is published in my friend Michelle Muska's book. And I wanted to show you what it is new and old. So somebody made like I made a traditional log cabin, and somebody else made, Jackie Garrick made a modern log cabin, and I've showed you that in the past. So let me show you the bear paw from the book. So here is the bear paw section, and then what Michelle does is gives you a little background about the block and shows you a few other blocks, a few other quilts using a bear paw block. And then there is the traditional one, which is done by Darlene Zimmerman. Many of you know and love Darlene and her work. And then the modern one is, hold on to see who it's by. It is by Elisa Sims Alberry. So there is the modern bear paw. So how fun is that? This book I will link below in the description box, but it will go along, and I've signed it to whoever this quilt goes to when I get 100,000 subscribers. So fun, right? Okay, let's move on. We have a bunch of fun things today. I did a quilt parade for festivals and fireworks. I asked you to show some pictures because, I don't know, I think it's summer and people are busy. You're sewing along, but there weren't a lot of pictures, so you delivered. They're great. Let's take a look. I love the soft colors that Brenda has selected. There's black, and then the rest is like soft pink and blue. So pretty. Carol went with a dark background, so this is spectacular. Look at the gray with the green, the medium greens, the light greens. It really makes it sparkle. I was showing you those gray basics, and this is the kind of thing that just really is different and fun to do if you've never done it before, using those dark gray background. Darlene's is beautiful in blue. Blue looks like blue and aqua. She even is using some blue for the backgrounds. See the stars on the top and the bottom? I love it. Davina has a red, white, and blue. She's got an Americana thing going on. You can see the flags in the middle of the middle block. Debbie's is also very soft. Look at this. How pretty is this? Really pale yellow, a little pale blue, and then that great red that looks like a French General fabric. Really pretty. Debbie, look at hers. I love it. So there's more colors. She's got more fabrics, pinks and reds and yellows and navies and black and rust color. They are going together so well. And it looks like she's got some American flag patches in the four corners of the main star. Denise went with a soft color palette as well. Love this. It is so pretty. Greens and reds and looks like very light blues. Another Americana. There's quite a few Americana. This one is a stripe, and it is by Denise. I love the stripes. And then she has some fireworks in some of the corners, flag fabrics, star fabrics. It's looking so good. Now, not everybody is sharing the full set. Some of you shared your most current block, and so I love that. Here's Erin's on black, and I can't wait to see the rest of the quilt. This looks so good. Gail's is red, white, and blue. Look at the fussy cutting in those great big friendship stars. That is awesome. Really great fabric. And then also in the four friendship stars, look, she put a fabric, like a fireworks fabric in the middle. So good. Of course, with festivals and fireworks, I think that we see a lot of fireworks fabrics. That's so cool. Jackie's is blue with a soft yellow, and she's got fish fabric. See the four squares with fish, and then the blue at the top and the sides has birds on it. I love it. Here's Karen's most recent block in red. I love the red against that really pretty white on white background. And then here is more of her blocks, and then we also have a picture of her center. So she shared, there it is. So cool. That is really nice. And she did a dark inner border. Do you see that? That's a little bit different. Haven't seen that yet. Carla's is so pretty. Red with green, and it looks like that's a black, I think, in the corners. So this is Christmassy fabric. So it's got snowflakes and pine cones. I love it. Kathleen's, she's got peaches and blues, navies, that navy and green. It is so classic. Anytime you do navy and green. And I love the blue floral she's using in that middle block. It's really effective. Katrina's center is navy and olive. This is wonderful. So I love it. And it looks like firework fabric in the corners and then along the outer border as well. Lori's has soft colors. I love that sort of light blue that's in there. And then some plaids. See the big friendship stars? They are a plaid. That's a great effect in here, adding the plaids. Mary Jane. Now she has moved along, so she has a few more of the blocks, and a lot of you had that, but I wasn't sharing a bunch of those yet, so I just shared this one where all the blocks are there, so you can see where she's going. It's so pretty. I love the pink and the red and the black. Great job. Meredith has purple. Love it. So, it looks so good. Gorgeous rug you have there, too. Pat's is a red, white, and blue. That's really, really pretty. I love how the dark is in those four corners for the star, and in the middle, it really makes it sort of like a burst, a firework burst. Here's Paula's latest blocks. They look so good with that kind of rust color. And then she also shared all the other ones together. So these all look like batiks. They're wonderful. They kind of sparkle. Batiks kind of have that sparkle to them. Here's Rebecca's red, white, and blue blocks, some of them up close, and then all of them with her center. See, she's getting there. Looks so good. I think that may be one of the fabrics that I showed you. I love that stripe one, the navy stripe. Roxy has all of hers up on the design wall. She's got a few extra projects up there too above, but it looks good. And I love the placement in her center one of the red, so that using it in that outer, those outer edges looks wonderful. Ruth has got a red, white, and blue center started. So cool. I love the four corners, and she's got the kind of star fabric. That's awesome. Sonia's. This has a little bit of novelty prints in the aqua. Look at the center block. You can see in the middle and in the four corners. That is so precious. I love it, love it. And she has quite a few different fabrics too, which is cool. And then she's got pinks and reds and greens and aquas and yellow and navy. It looks really, really good. Teresa's, she's got purple and burgundy and that kind of olive, looks like an olive green in the photo anyways, looks really good. And look at the center of the large friendship stars. So she added a really fun print in the center. And then we just have a couple of more here with Wendy's. Center block is also pretty pink. Look at that pink with the green. Looks like two shades of green. Really, really nice. And we wrap it up with our ambassador, Yvonne, is sharing her latest blocks. I love that fabric, Yvonne. That is so cool. And she's using different white on whites. So you can see it here. There's different white on whites, which I think is super fun to mix them up like that. Thank you, everybody, again, for sharing your photos, for sewing along with me. It's just so much fun. So much fun. Okay, another thing, the critters. So I've got the critters up here. You can see them. Let me just move this quilt to the side a bit so we can see the critters while we're talking. There we go. So I have been working on a diagram. Oh, I'm stuck behind the quilt. So I've been working on the diagram for the critters so that I can set it. And you see I've changed a few things. I moved, separated the yellow bird and bee so that they weren't like right next to each other. I've rotated a few units up there, but pretty much this is the way it's going to be. And it just didn't occur to me. A bunch of you were like, how do you do that in a computer? Well, it's the same way you would do it on paper, except that I'm using the computer, which is a lot easier because everything is digital, so I don't have to have little pieces of paper and a grid, graph paper, and move little pieces of paper around on it. I can do it all in my software. I use software that is no longer available. It is professional level software, but Electric Quilt would be able to do this for you. You could anything that's a program that you have on your computer that can do a grid and little boxes. You basically need a grid and squares and rectangles so that you can move everything around after you've done all the work to measure everything. But let me just show you how my software works. So let's take a look. So here is the software. When you open it up, it's a blank sheet. It is professional level software called drawplus, which isn't really made anymore. So you would have to buy an old copy and you would have to learn a lot to be able to use this. So what I have is I've already gone and measured all the items. So you can see that I've got each one labeled. What I did was frame out the size that it's going to be, which is 65 by 73. You can see that over there. And then I can move things around. They're snapped to a grid. And I need to be able to cut things a certain size. Like this is 3 by 25.5 inches. That's what that is. That's the finished size. And then when you do the quilt math, you have to add a 1/2 inch to that for what you cut. And so what I do is I'm going to fill in. So I've got like those little house blocks. I've got them listed here. Everything else right now is strips. Those are the only I didn't put in up here where I showed blocks. I have to measure those because this is 3 inches. I think those blocks might be 3 inches, but they may be 4. I don't know. If they're 4, they're not going to work. I have to trim them down. So that's kind of thought process I have to go through. On the left it's 3 inches, and I know those half square triangles are not 3 inches. So I either have to use those half square triangles and then make another strip here, or make another strip somewhere else. The other thing is I have to make this so I can construct it, so that all of this will eventually be something I sew together like that, or we'll just undo that, or I would be sewing maybe these together and then these together like this. So we're going to put that all back. And this is all kind of where I work and how I work with something that is a layout that I'm developing. Now I can just pull up, I think, a prior, let's see, there's a butterfly block that you just downloaded that I did for Benartex, and I'm able to put in, what you see. This is the pattern that you printed. So that's the kind of thing that I can also do. So I just wanted to give you a little look. I hope that was helpful. What I'm using, even if you bought a more current package, which is still being manufactured, they're not easy to learn. They're not easy. And any software is going to take some time to learn it. It isn't something you're going to sit down and then do this right away. If you just want to do one quilt kind of like this, get a piece of graph paper, some little squares that you cut out to symbolize each size, 4 by 5, 6 by 6, 12 by 12, that kind of a thing. And just move it around and tape it to the graph paper. So that would be your best bet. You can do electric quilt as well if you own that, and a lot of you do own electric quilt. So I had a mail call. This is from Barb in Maine, and she sent me a really sweet note, and she decided that I needed some blueberry fabric. So she sent me 2 pieces, the one on the black background and the one on the white background. And she is from Maine, so she said these are Maine blueberries. And she did say it's very hard work to harvest blueberries. She did it as a teenager for summer jobs, and she said it is hard work. I can imagine. I love blueberries. So thank you so much. Now I want to show you my cross stitch because I had to reboot, and I had I was sort of thinking about my process with the cross stitch, and I just thought you might enjoy hearing it because it can kind of reflect anything that you're working on. It doesn't have to be it's a cross stitch thought. It's a process thought about how we approach what we make. So let's go to the other side where I can just have the cross stitch out. So I got the Happy Haunting, the free cross stitch that went along with the free Halloween quilt that we just did in June, and I started it, and it's done in quadrants, and they started in the top left quadrant. So when you open it up, this was the top left quadrant, and that was what we started with. And I did a little bit, and then I didn't do anything else, and now that mystery's over, so I see all the parts. And I realized that for me, when I cross stitch, I need to start in the bottom right. So the top left is like the whole wrong place for me to start a cross stitch. I need to do the bottom right. I need to start and go up and down the best that I can. And that is how it is working best for me. And the biggest thing is that's what's enjoyable. That's what I find fun. And I will work on it if I'm working on it in that mode and on a big enough cloth. As I told you about the pie on Saturday, that's too tiny. I was not motivated. It was hard for me to finish it. So I definitely have to stick to the bigger whole cloth, which is fine. So what I've done is I had to get myself in the right position. And honestly, I am not good at counting over. I lose track. I wonder if I'm in the right spot. And I don't know, maybe that happens to a lot of you. But I decided that the best thing for me to do would be to follow, this is the top, what have I got under there? Oh, it's the clip. Okay, so this is the top of the letters for the haunting. So, that's what's over here, the haunting, right? And so these are the tops of the letters. So what I did is I just kept working my way over along the tops. And I did it all the way over to here. And then I worked my way down. And so now I'm going up and over, up, 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 up. And I am on the N here. And I think then I'm not out of sync. And I'm going to go ahead and do all of the letters. And then I will do the moon. After that, I'm not sure if I will put the 4 items. There's 4 items in each corner. And I'm not sure I will do any of them. There are some little like stars. So I probably will do those, but not, I don't think I would do the 4 because I need to be more realistic with myself. I don't work that fast on these. Whoops. And so I want to be sure that I actually enjoy and work on it and finish some. So I'm going to keep it just to the Happy Haunting and just the moon and then a couple of those little stars around it. So this process is something that if you are working on something and it's not flowing, something isn't flowing well, and therefore you're actually not working on it, take a look, step back today and take a look at that process that you're doing and say, maybe did I not flow very well, or it's not flowing very well because it's the wrong process for me. Do I need to switch it up? Do I need to just totally scrap the way I'm doing this and work the way I need to work? And that's what I'm doing here. I totally scrapped trying to work the next section down or the next section over. I needed the catty corner section so that I can go up. I can work up, 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 up like that from left to right. So that's just the way that works for me. Okay, we're going to go back to the other side and do a Q&A. I have 2 Q&A. The first is from Lynn, and she says, when you make your binding and pull backing fabric, do you do that when you're piecing the quilt or when you're finished? She's just curious what my process is. I would say I've done both. I have been making my top. I already know what the backing will be and I know what the binding will be. I have made the top. I have not thought about backing at all, not thought about binding at all. Made the top, thought about binding, but not backing, etc., etc. I have done everything, but I would say that more often I wait a while and because I'm not the person who wants my backing fabric that has to be one of the fabrics in the front of the quilt. And a lot of you quilt makers enjoy your backing fabric to be this one of the fabrics you used in the front of your quilt. And so in that case, you kind of need to buy it when you start, because otherwise the fabric could be gone and then you won't be able to get the choice that you want. So there, whatever works. I mean, it just depends on the project for me. I don't have a hard and fast rule for how I do that. I've made hundreds and hundreds of quilts, and it would just seem weird to have done it the same way every time, because things flow and act differently for whatever kind of project I'm working on. Okay, the other one is from Grace, and this is a great question. I gotta be sure I get it because it's long, but I want to just give you a synopsis. For the most part, Grace understands that this question probably has a lot of different answers from a lot of you. And this question actually has been asked many times in my quilt group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan at Facebook. But what she wants to know is, she's a new quilter, and basically, how does she build a stash? How does she think about what fabrics to buy in order to build a stash of fabric to work from? So this question is kind of a multi-part. I think the easiest answer is, don't worry about it yet. I think all season quilters, and I've seen those answers thousands of times in my community, is that you will build a stash whether you want to or not, for the most part. Unless you're a very minimalist, frugal quilter, as you work on a project, you will have extra. That becomes now your collection of fabric. You will go shopping somewhere, you will see a piece of fabric, you will love it, you will buy it. You don't actually need a plan. It will just start to happen. But for people who are maybe don't have access to shops very much, so you want to make the most of it when you go somewhere and you're at a quilt shop and you're new, what do you get? The key here when you're new is think about the type of quilts you're making and you want to make. If they're scrap quilts, then you could get like fat quarters. But if you like to make quilts that are very coordinated, then you should probably be leaning towards bundles or kits, or even kits, so that you know what you're getting into when you're first starting. Because when you're first starting, you basically have no quilting personality yet. You're kind of like all over the place. I'll make this, I'll make that, my friend's making that, that's cute, I'll make that too. And then after a while, you're like, whoa, okay, I kind of like doing these, but not those. I didn't enjoy that, or the outcome of that wasn't what I was hoping for. But when I did this type, yes, that was it. So you start to know your own personality. So I would say just relax. And particularly, you also said you're on a budget. That's even more reason not to be collecting. Even more reason, because you will collect things you will never use and you'll have wasted your money. So take your time. Make quilts, buy for the quilt you're going to make. You will have extra and it will start to accumulate. Buy a little piece here, a little piece there. Okay, my friends, somebody will win this, but you all need to be a subscriber. And in order to win it sooner, you need to get your friends to subscribe. So share my videos over in your communities and let people know the type of fun that we have here. And then we'll get there sooner. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.